All right, everybody, we got him. We got him this time. Check it out. From Tesla, documented oil leak, admitted. All right, we got him. All right, a little over dramatic. Yeah, a lot over dramatic. All right. So what I'm going to do in this video is give you a quick background. We do have an oil leak here on a number of the Tesla Model 3 performance cars for sure. And I'm going to give you a quick background on that. And then we're going to take a closer look at the actual TSB. This is a technical service bulletin that was issued by Tesla to all the dealerships, all the mechanics. It describes the issue and exactly how they can fix it. And what's really cool about this TSB is it really looks like you can bring your car in, have it fixed, whether you're seeing an actual oil leak or not. So should you bring yours in? Am I going to bring mine in? I'll let you know what I think. All right, so to catch everyone up, we had two different potential areas where this fluid could be leaking from. And looking at this rear cover, when you take it off, you can see I've got something leaking here, and it's not horribly bad. Horribly bad would be that it's leaking so much oil that it spills over and it ends up on your garage floor. So then you look underneath the car, you look to see where this oil is potentially coming from. And where I saw mine coming from, it really looked like it was coming from the half shaft seals. Now, could it have been leaking from higher above and crossing over to these seals and then coming down? Yeah, potential. It's hard to tell exactly, especially because this amount of leakage that you're seeing here, that's all that I had. I looked at it maybe 1,000 or so, 1,500 miles later, and it looked exactly the same. So it's not like I have an active leak. I don't know exactly where this oil came from. Oh, potentially too, assembly lube. This could be just from assembling part of that rear drive motor, maybe the half shaft seals or something, and some assembly lube comes down and spills. So we've got three different potential areas or things that could be causing oil to be on your garage floor, the rear of this aero pan, and even up into the drive unit. So first thing is, yeah, half shaft seals. People, I don't care which model you've had, I don't care which car you've had, half shaft seals leak. All right, it can happen. It can happen. You could get a bad seal, a bad assembly, whatever. Something happens, half shaft seals leak. And I did see a couple people in forums where, yeah, they definitely had half shaft leak. Tesla fixed it. There was nothing, though, to give us an indication that it's a widespread problem. And in other words, no technical service bulletins or anything like that have gone out. Then as far as the like assembly lube and things like that, I don't know. Nobody's mentioned anything like that. The mechanics, when people bring their car into Tesla to inspect it, they haven't even mentioned anything like that. So who knows? It's a possibility. So now let's get to the breather, because it looks like that is an issue. It's an issue enough for them to release a technical service bulletin. So here we are, TSB 24-40-008, inspect rear drive unit for oil loss through breather. Model 3 2024 North America, Fremont. Is it Fremont only? It kind of looks like what it's talking about. So maybe this happened only from cars being assembled at Fremont. Also, the performance configuration. So performance Model 3 2024. This is a little too much for them to do for mobile service. So the claim made by others before, and also, looks like Tesla's saying the same thing. Minor oil loss through rear drive unit breather during high lateral acceleration cornering maneuvers. People were saying, however, that, they weren't cornering very hard. They weren't taking their car to the track. So maybe this happens under acceleration also, because this car accelerates, as everybody probably knows by now, pretty hard. So it says here, customer complaining, you got oil stains somewhere. Check out the rear aero shield and relocate the RDU breather, rear drive unit breather. And they're also saying here, hey, if you've got a leak, loss of fluid, drain and fill the RDU oil. The breather relocation may also be performed at customer request, foregoing any inspection. So while this isn't a huge fix, it's 2.64 hours, which is, pretty substantial. And actually, we'll look through this a little bit more. It's not something that is a very easy DIY by any means, but you do have to drop the rear drive unit a little bit to get above it and access that breather. And it's also interesting in how they relocate this breather. So let's take a look at it. Also some interesting parts and everything that is needed. Let's go into the next page here. And, you know, interesting here, if customer has not reported oil loss but still wants to relocate the RDU breather, skip to relocate breather. I think you can go in and just tell them, hey, I'd like to relocate this breather. I'm not comfortable with how this car is right now. You know, maybe in the future, you're going to be driving it harder, you're going to be tracking it, and I don't want any oil to leak. Well, go ahead, bring it in, tell them this TSB number, and tell them you want this fixed. Here it shows you how you can just remove the rear wheel, left-hand side, and inspect right through here at the breather and see if you've got any oil leakage coming out of there. But again, doesn't look like you need to even see any oil coming out of here in order to get this fixed. So here then it's saying, you know, don't just check the breather, check the half shafts, check the seals, make sure that we don't have any leaks here. If we do, then, you know, it's a whole different issue. Again, doesn't need a TSB, rear seals leaking, then fix them. So here, this is what I was talking about, partially lower the rear subframe from the vehicle. That is not a simple process for somebody to do at home. All right, now here's something else that's really interesting. So there is a rear motor bay noise absorber, basically this giant pad here to help keep noise out of the passenger compartment. And what they have them do is cut out a square in this location because they don't want this rubbing on the top of the new breather. So I don't know if it's really causing an issue now with the breather that's in there now, or is it because they don't want it rubbing on this new breather thing that they kind of have to MacGyver together? Let's take a look at it. All right, so this is the breather on the top of the rear drive unit. Looks like this is a close-up. This is how it comes from the factory. And they basically tell them to take it apart, remove the baffle, cut the baffle in half, and put it back into the breather, and then put it back onto the rear drive unit. Check this out. So basically then you're just taking the breather and making it remote with this whole remote breather assembly. So you've got this tube here, and then this is the new breather on the end of it. And again, then this is the sound shield from the previous page, and they've got that section cut out because they don't want it rubbing on top of here and potentially damaging the new breather assembly. And then, you know, it tells them where to run the breather, attach it to the brake lines, here, and then this is the new breather assembly. And I'm assuming that oil isn't going to go all the way over here and leak out, and then basically just put everything back together. So this is a pretty interesting fix, and it makes me wonder, why wasn't this an issue on the previous Model 3s? This is a whole different rear drive unit. I'm assuming they have a breather somewhere, but maybe it's just designed a little bit differently so we don't see the leaks. Because, yeah, this car does perform better. It does accelerate harder, but not that much harder. And you can't tell me that some of these people with the older Model 3s that are tracking their cars, they're not getting their cars to laterally accelerate, you know, cornering as hard as this new car. They have to be. And I'm not hearing that people have to fix their breathers to keep oil from leaking. So I think this is a whole new design, and it obviously must be different also than the Plaid model. So I'd like to know what you guys think. Is this a design change? It must be. Anybody out there really know? And is anybody going to bring their car in? I'm kind of thinking I'm not. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. Like I said, I've got some leakage. I'm not sure exactly where it came from. It could have been at assembly. That's it. Whatever leakage I have is there. It's done. I really don't want them to bring my car in, drop the rear drive unit, and go through all this trouble. It just doesn't seem worth it. The other thing, too, is that if we look here, refer to the alignment requirement matrix to determine the need for suspension alignment. So you may need to get your alignment done after this because, you know, you're dropping the whole rear drive unit. That's going to affect some geometry unless you put it back on exactly the same. I don't know. it just seems like something that I don't even want to get into. I really can't picture myself calling them up and having my car in there to put this in there. But who knows? I might change my mind, or maybe somebody here in the comments will change my mind. So thanks, everyone. Please like and subscribe.